You may be tempted to do a guild merger because your guild is not able to fully staff a raid team. And I want to convince you that that is one, really painful and that it most likely won't work for you. But more importantly, I want to show you a better way to really get your result. Let me describe the problem that is most likely within your head right now. I could pug. I know I can pull off pugging, but it's painful. I don't want to do it, and also my guildies don't like it. The raids cannot start reliably on time, and it makes it a bad experience for me and my raiders. I think that over time, if I cannot very rapidly get the raids to be a certain way, I will lose the people I have, potentially at a faster rate than I can recruit people. Or at least that I will go insane before I'm able to fully staff a raid team without merging. This is probably a thought you've had. And really, what your true problem is you need to be able to start a raid on time and have the raids go fairly well. That's the real problem you need to solve. Most likely, your guildies are pretty okay with the size of your social environment. They don't particularly care other than the way it impacts your raiding abilities. So you just need to find some people to pad out your raid team. But it doesn't even have to be your raid team. They just have to pad out the raid that you're in week to week. It could be different people even. So how are you going to pull this off? You're going to find other guilds that have the same pain points as you. They're everywhere. Running a guild fucking sucks. It's rewarding, but it fucking sucks, okay? So it's not too hard to find people that feel like this. I've had these feelings before too. You're going to hit them up and you're going to construct an offer for them that's going to make you both win, okay? So maybe you have 10 people. You find another guild that's 10 people. Let's work together. We're going to both be trying to have our own teams. We want to have our own banners with a full raid team one day. So we're not going to do this forever. This isn't a merger. But in the short term, it's going to save myself and yourself, both raid leaders or GMs or somebody, from having to pug, which makes it hard to start on time. And it makes the quality of the raids kind of suck. Okay? Now, assuming the raid's not super hard, pretty much any guild will be able to provide you with the other players who are good enough and have enough respect for the team that the raids will go fine. All right. If they make the raids really hard, this will maybe not be the case, but I don't think they're going to. So how do you make this deal work better if, let's say, you don't have 10 people? Maybe you have 5 people. Hey, man, it's still easy. Find somebody who has 15 people, or find somebody who has 10 people and say, I'll recruit the last 5 pugs. You only need to get 5 pugs. Much easier to start on time with a 20-man. How do you do that? Pre-signups. Okay, when you're just online, you post a macro that says looking for people at this time and get like 20 people to tell you they're going to show up, because you're going to see the no-call, no-show rate with strangers is really high. Most people are scumbags and will waste your time for no reason. If you've ever ran a business or done any form of sales, you'll be familiar with this, intimately familiar with it, that other people are willing to waste an insane amount of your time to save themselves from having to simply say that they're going to do something different than they promised you. So I'm sure you've experienced that before, and that's the reason you're on this video. You resolve that by just, while you're on, posting a macro and collecting a big list of people and let them know that it's going to be first come, first served day of, and if they're on an hour early, they're going to for sure get the slot. Easy. Problem solved. So now your problem has become this. You have 5 guys. You need to log in 1 hour before raid. Fill with the pugs. Get like 5 pugs. The other guild, they're going to get the other people. Your raid starts on time. The raid will work reasonably good too, because you're going to have, instead of adverse selection, which occurs when you just have totally random people and you don't have a time for them to log on, which is going to encourage casuals who are very uninvested. You're instead going to have the exact opposite of that, because you're going to have pugs that want to commit to showing up on time, and only the ones who show up on time will have shown up. Interesting. So you get higher quality pugs doing this too. And now you've made it so you can spend 1 hour to get a raid to start on time instead of who knows how much time. This is true regardless of how many people you currently raid with. You could even do this if you're a one-man band and you're like, I want to start a guild. You could find a guild and be like, that a guild that's looking to merge or recruit a bunch of people, and be like, I will do this. I will do all the recruiting. I'll fill it. We'll start on time. Bring your 5, 10, 15 boys. Let me raid lead, or you can let them raid lead, however you want to do it. And then you can talk to them maybe about a couple items. Maybe you can be like, hey, we'll hard reserve an item. It can go to you. That way it's easier for them to say yes. Explain to them what you're getting out of the deal. Explain to them what they're going to get out of the deal. Talk about their pain points, the things that they hate. You're going to have to hit up a few people to get somebody to bite on this because most people aren't creative like this. They haven't done real negotiation. They think that negotiation is you get a job offer and you're like, I'd like more money. That's not really negotiating, guys, okay? Although you should do that when you get an offer because it often works. Because when you get job offers, you're negotiating with HR quite often, and it's not their money they're spending if they give you more. So quite often you'll get it. But that's not what the video's about. You will have to hit a few people up. I don't know, like maybe 5, maybe 10. Somebody is going to take this deal because it makes a lot of sense, and it sucks trying to get a group started, all right? You'll see it everywhere. People looking for merges, they know the risks of merging, but the little voice in their head's telling them, this is the way to get out of the hard work, guys. We're just going to merge. It's totally going to work for us, even though it usually does not end up very well. Merging dilutes your ability to have a vision as a leader because you're going to have to compromise. It's a requirement, of course, if you're going to merge. And that's giving up your greatest asset as a guild leader or a raid leader, compromising your unique vision. If at nothing else, it's the greatest asset to yourself. But assuming that you're pretty committed and you build some skills, it'll be the greatest asset to your team too. I'd say that my greatest skill in WoW is being fucking awesome at negotiating, and I don't do it by getting more shit from people. I always give them a better end of the deal than I get, because that makes finding someone who accepts the offer really easy. Super, super easy. Which, learned that from this guy, in case you've ever seen Alex Ramosi. He's the fucking man. But, yeah, like, that's what it's all about. Craft an offer that, if the other side accepts it, it's going to resolve all your problems with your raid team. Of course, it'll be temporary. One of your two teams, either theirs or yours, is going to staff before the other one does. That's fine. Agree that you're going to give each other as much notice as possible. Preferably have a set amount of days, but, it's quite likely that the other side would maybe renege on that a little bit. So just accept that you might go back to ground zero 2 days before the run or a day before the run and have to pug. Whatever, you're back to where you were. Find another group. Do another joint venture for a little bit. I've done it quite a few times in the past. I did a bunch of times before I had a real guild of my own. And I also did it with pug, like, alt runs while I had a really good guild. And it was fine. We ran with some guys in a guild named Instability for like 3 weeks. They were fucking phenomenal players. And then eventually they filled up their group. I would say that they provided better players than us. And then eventually they wanted to go their own way. And I was like, good luck, dude. It was awesome playing with you. You've taught my guys something. You've made my life easier. And I was thrilled to have had the short-term little venture with them. Some of my guildies and officers didn't understand it. They thought that it was unfair that these guys didn't want to stay with us forever. I was like, what are you talking about? This is great for both parties. Try to find ways to get everybody to win, but don't use a merger. Do not do it. It won't work. I've done a merger once. That guild that I ran, where I merged in with another one, it still exists. I'm no longer a part of it. I left it. Over time, the vision shifted out from under me, and I decided I need to make a whole new organization and leave behind a whole bunch of friends. It was super fucking dramatic. The reason that it went that way is because although I merged with a guy that I fully trusted, and that for the most part treated everybody well, he at one point promoted a bunch of people to be officers that really should not have been officers. But honestly, even if you got 7 angels to be officers, it wouldn't work out good. There's just too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Doesn't work. And then eventually my co-GM, he developed some medical problems with substances and became quite aggressive and offended a lot of people in the game consistently for weeks and weeks. And I had to have him removed, and it was painful. It was super painful. And I would say that our merger went really good. The result of it was there's a guild that still exists today that's like 5 years old, and people still play in it, and they're happy, and they're very good friends. And I'm not a part of it, and he's not a part of it either. So I'd say at least for us, and for, I don't know, probably like 75 other people from other raid teams that are no longer part of that guild over the years, It was a bad deal. And I would say it went pretty optimally as far as mergers go. Do not subject yourself to that. You will most likely not have a similar enough vision to another team to have it work out smoothly. Something bad will likely happen eventually. And you've probably heard of mergers not working well in the past from other people you've talked to if you're thinking of running a guild, or even if you just are interested in the nonsense people subject themselves to run a guild. Avoiding potential sources of absolute failure is much more important than getting a short-term benefit when it comes to running a guild. What are things you need to dodge? You need to dodge the chance for social cohesion to evaporate. It's very, very important. You need to dodge the chance that your authority gets completely debased for reasons beyond yourself being bad at leadership. Because of course there's no solution to that. If you just suck at leading people and you're a dick, you're going to lose your guild eventually anyways. But you shouldn't take excess risk for no reason. Because unlike the real world, you don't have a chance of hitting it so far out of the park that it makes it so that way you have like 20 guilds. It's not like you merge with a guild and it works out so good that you end up in charge of 3,000 people and you have an infinite awesome raids. That's not a possibility. In the real world, companies can merge and stuff and it can make sense. But you can really hit it out of the park in the real world. And here you have very little to win. It's super constrained. Like you can have 1 or 2 excellent raid teams, but regardless of if you have the 1 or 2, you take all the negatives of merging either way. Don't take them. Don't take them. Do temporary joint ventures with people. Negotiate a deal. Have the deal be better for the other party than yourself. And explain to them why you'd want to do it. You'll see a lot of people will say yes. And the ones who will say no, you probably don't want to work with because they're not very logical. Working this way, you're going to accidentally select people who think like you and that really value the right things. Whereas when you do a merger, you know what you select for? You select for the lazy. You select for the impatient. You select for those that don't have a clear vision for the future. This is called adverse selection. It'd be like deciding that you're going to make a car insurance company where what you try to do is service a population mostly of felons who have financial crimes. They aren't currently serviced, and you're totally going to be able to find a way to accurately price for them, right? Or maybe they'll just rob you. I have a Discord server. There's a lot of guild leaders in it and a lot of parsers in it. If you're looking for people to do a joint venture with, maybe you could find people in it. The link is in the channel description. I don't want to put it in here because then it will have a whole lot of bots get attracted to it and they will put pornographic spam, as I'm sure you've seen in Discords before. So if that's something that's interesting to you, check the channel description, join the Discord. It's not set up as a community one. I think that's weird. It's just people talking there about random shit. See you later.